Alright guys, welcome to Gran Turismo 7 once again, and today we are going to be exploring some of the new cars and the new updates, and by some I mean only like a couple because I'm not really feeling doing a bunch of cash runs today, and I wanted to save the 30-minute race I typically do for streams for this video with a new car. So, update 1.54 is now available to us all, and in that update we got a handful of stuff. We've got some new tracks for Sophie, we've got some new cars, and pretty much that's about it. So we're going to be experimenting with one of the cars today before we experiment too far with any of the others, and that is going to be the 911 Turbo S. So they added a bunch of new cars in this update. They added 5 in total, one of which is an Legends car dealer. It's a Mercedes F1 car from the 50s, which we'll look at later, as well as two new Porsche models, the Ford Escort Cosworth, which we'll look at later today, and the Suzuki Jimny Sierra JC, which I have already purchased. So we'll look at all those cars in VR because this video is going to be in VR. And yeah, we're going to start off though with the Turbo S. I'm going to go ahead and knock this new thing off the Mission X, which we'll go ahead and just look in the VR showroom part of this so you guys can get a look at what the interior will look like. So this is an electric car, as you guys might be able to obviously know if you're familiar with this thing. The interior of this thing is actually kind of cool. It shares a lot in common with the Taycan, but obviously more VGT-ish. I mean, obviously this is a real concept car. This is not a VGT model. Have like this weird window thing, similar like the DeLorean and the SVX. Got this nice big window though on the roof side. I believe this may have gullwing doors, if I had to guess, judging by how the architecture is on this thing. Pretty sweet little ride though. Don't have the cash to get one to drive for you guys right now, and I don't really care because it's an EV. But we are going to be looking at the Turbo S. So I'm going to pick. There's a lot of really good color options. Lava Orange, Carmine Red, Guards Red, Gentian Blue. A lot of my favorite colors. The Chalk is one of my favorite colors, which I don't think is available in any of the other cars. And I'm imagining these colors will be available along the other Porsche model, or along the other colors in the thing, if I decide to get a specific color here. So I'm really torn between Carmine Red, Python Green, and Gentian Blue, 3 of my favorite colors in Porsche's lineup. And I think the Turbo S needs to be something a bit more sparkly, but I think I'm going to go with Gentian Blue. This is my kind of my favorite Porsche color right now, other than Lava Orange and Miami Blue. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and buy the Turbo S. It's gonna leave us with just under 200 or just over 200,000 credits. We're building this car for the 700 PP regs for the WTC 700 race to get some credits with. Probably not gonna be able to do a whole lot of upgrades to this car without breaching those regs. I mean, we put tires on it, we put racing softs on it, and we're already like at the limit. So we're gonna do that. Obviously, doing coilovers put us right at it. So probably not going to get to do a whole lot of fun with this car today, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and buy some tires, as well as, well, really just handle tires. We'll do a power limiter, so that way we can experiment a bit more with some stuff. But that was my main focus. I wanted to get brakes. I wanted to get, you know, all that stuff dealt with first. So we are going to have to drop the power for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and buy the power limiter, power restrictor. That's really about it. We're all we're going to be able to do with this car before we break that regulations area on the 700 system. There's a lot we can do to this engine. So I'm excited to probably get another one of these to fully build. But yeah, that's going to be kind of our build for now. Just pretty much everything else is going to be stock. We're gonna lose some power for sure on that. So we're gonna add some aero. Don't quite know how much I'll be able to get away with on this. We do have this Turbo S branded one. Not too sure about it. It sits lower, but this looks more racy. And then obviously a wing. Ooh, the base 911 look. I like that, honestly. We have the Sport Classic spoiler, and we have the, I believe this is the Aero Pack spoiler, the Sport Design Package spoiler, which I do like that, so we are going to go with it. We actually lost some performance points on that one. So we'll add some hood pins, just because this is meant to be more of like a GT4-esque car, even though this thing will be well beyond those regulations. throw some light bulbs on it. Yellow light bulbs, that's kind of my thing. We're gonna delete the front plates. And we're gonna do, I guess, the American style, just because that's more my thing. And obviously put yellow calipers back on this car. They say orange, but they're yellow. Okay, so that is about what we're gonna be able to do in terms of building this thing out for the 700 regs. See about those new rotiform wheels they added, because I forgot they added rotiform wheels. None of the ones that I expected them to add, because if you're familiar with Volkswagen and the Volkswagen Group, rotiform is kind of like the go-to wheel for people with these cars. So let's see about my BBS center locks that I have, because I think that might be a good look for this car as well. The RECLs. I wish I could go down a size, honestly, because I think that would look good, but can't, so... Alright, so that's going to be kind of our look. It's a shame we don't really get a lot of aggressive aero options with the Turbo S. It's very tame, but I think that is okay. We're going to do some basic stuff. We'll create a livery, a very basic one. We'll leave the Gentium Blue. I'll probably get a proper livery done for this car later, but I wanted to do something simple for now. We'll do the white driver names and the standard. Probably do the white one, even though I went with. We'll do that just so that everything matches. And we'll add a decal on the side. I'm gonna need my DualSense for this. That is off to the side. So yeah, we're just gonna do something simple, nothing crazy. I think I may have some patterns already saved for something like this. I think this might look kind of cool. Like a German flag on the side here. We'll do a line with camera so it looks a little bit better. And then we'll duplicate symmetrically on this side so everything kind of meshes in on that side. It might be a little bit better if the car was a lighter color. So maybe we'll paint it. I don't know. I want to keep the Gentian though. That's a good looking color. And then let's see if I have some Porsche decals lying around. Alright, so we got this Porsche website one. It's going to be my kind of go-to here. I'm going to do a line with camera as well on this one. We'll leave it the white. I think that'll be fine. I think that looks good. And then we'll do the same thing on the hood. There we go. Okay, this thing's ready. We'll just call it GT4. It's not a GT4 car. I mean, that's the Cayman's whole thing. Alright. So interestingly enough, something I did not expect was for this car to stay under 700 now with all of this extra stuff. I don't know if the aero had something to do with that. But yeah, I mean, it's actually in a good spot. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stiffen up the suspension. I don't want what happened with the C6 on stream a while back to make itself known here. We'll just stiffen it up a little bit. I expect this car to have a little bit of understeer, honestly, because of the fact it's a Turbo S. So it's all-wheel drive. So I'm going to kind of try to give it a little bit of low-speed oversteer. So, alright, let's hit the track. Alright, we are now at the World Touring Car 700 race at Le Sarthe. This is probably the easiest way to make money in this game. And we're going to be taking the Turbo S out and seeing what she can do against some of these other Group 4 class vehicles that this can be directly against. We are racing. Here we go. So let's see what this thing can do. Around here, we've got 640 horsepower, but 3,600 pounds. This is probably the heaviest car that I could have chosen for this. That wasn't a Charger, obviously. Or one of the trucks. Already a half-second penalty for track limits, and I barely went off. Alright, on to the most on straight. We are rocketing past people out here. I'm gonna have to dump this into fuel map 6. We're burning up fuel like nobody's business. The weight is definitely impacting the braking on this car. Here we go, up into P6 here. Gonna try to get around this Aston here. So we head down into the second corner here in the chicane. Eight-speed PDK doing its thing. There we go, past the Genesis. Past Blasan and the Suzuki. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Alright, here we go, into Indianapolis for the first time. Let's see what this thing can do. Oh, it did not like that. Alright, here we go. We got the two of the top three right in front of me. I'm gonna make the swing around the Supra. We got Portilla and McEwen in that Corvette. This big heavy thing definitely isn't the most stable under braking. Alright, here we go. Let's see if we can get around these guys here. This thing drinks fuel though. My goodness. Alright, and we're going to get squeeze around McEwen as well here. This thing does have superior top speed to both of them. There we are in the pits. This thing is not the most fuel efficient car out there, that is for sure. Let's switch on to mediums as well, just for some safety. Let's see if we can make up some ground here with this thing. It's a good looking livery though. I did pretty okay for being like a livery I made in 5 minutes. Alright, let's put some work in out here. The weather is a little bit wetter than I would like, but we are now back in P14. We should already be in map 6, so we should be able to get the full use of fuel efficiency out of this car. I will say this thing makes short work of the grid when you're in need of some speed. We're already getting through the majority of the grid. Already got in 2 positions. Don't quite know how these guys are going to go into this corner, so I'm braking a little earlier than I probably should. There is, I believe, McEwen in that Corvette. So we squeeze around here, around Mangano in that Evo, and we do get around him. This battle right here will effectively be for the lead on the next lap, so let's see if we can get around this Corvette relatively easily here. Check the mirror a little bit. Get a good look at him as we go by. Almost put it in the wall myself because I'm an idiot. Alright, we do make that overtake stick. Coming up on one of our Porsche brethren here, this Cayman GT4. I'm gonna flash him by. Because this will be a very easy overtake once we fire out of the Mulsanne corner. Check over, make sure I'm not about to wreck this thing trying to get around somebody else. We got Haywood and this Huracan up here. We're gonna see if we can give him a fight as we head down into the second chicane here on the straight. I will say this thing is a pretty understeery mess, and I don't know if that's just because my suspension tuning was very just quick and, you know, not something I paid a whole lot of attention to or what, but that is why I have yet another penalty for track limits, because I can't help this car understeer so much. I guess the advantage of having an 8th gear is I can use it for fuel saving. I will say I like the car, but I will say in this configuration, it's super understeery, and I'm sure some suspension tweaks would fix that, and it is absolutely awful on fuel. As you see, I'm having to utilize really high gearing choices to, you know, conserve fuel. Alright. We barely made it in terms of fuel. Only an 18-second gap. The track is getting a little wet, but I don't think it's going to be enough to necessitate the wet weather tires just yet. We're going to stay out on the mediums we've got, and we're going to go from there. Through Indianapolis, that was great. Nearly 10 seconds up on my best lap around here in this car. Alright. So aside from botching that second corner in the chicane, it's been a really solid lap. I wish I hadn't done that because this is a really good lap otherwise. But that did kind of hurt my ego a little bit. But this car, like I said, is a bit of a mess in terms of its handling and braking characteristics. Come on, car, grip up for me. You can hear those tires squealing. These fronts are definitely wearing out. As we enter the final chicane here. And across the line, Turbo S does get the win on its debut. That was definitely a rocky race that I would have much rather have had a little bit better luck with in terms of the penalties and just the errors with this car. It's a lot harder to drive than I expected for it to be, all things considered. Still get the clean race bonus though. I was kind of curious if I'd still get that. Car they added with this update was the Escort Cosworth, and this is a car that we've definitely been wanting to see in this game, so we're going to look through it in the VR showroom first. A legendary car from the Blue Oval. It's a good looking car too. Now you guys may have noticed we actually got to use one of these in rally car form, at least in the Gran Turismo 3 Let's Play I've been doing, so you guys haven't seen that, go check that out. I actually kind of like this interior. It's very 90s, that is for sure. Some nice leather seats. See that whale tail in the back. This is definitely a neat car though. Let's go ahead and buy it and take it around track, and we're gonna do another Turbo S probably at a later point. That'll be a Sport Classic build. We'll see what that thing can do full tilt. So yeah, let's see what she can do. Let's check out the F1 car as well. I was about to say some of the F50. F50 is up for grabs right now for that menu book they added. See what this $20 million car gets you. See a little plaid seat action. As a GTI owner, I love seeing that from the inside. It is loud, for one thing. R8, possible Audi reference? Not really. Them groove tires. This is a cool interior. I would love to have this car in my garage for sure. I'm gonna assume that's a 4-speed shifter, all things considered. Let's see, where is the pedals at? That is rough. Wow, that clutch being so far on the left. I can only imagine how much these drivers were hurting getting racing with this thing back in the day. Where your gas and brake right there, and that clutch pin right there. I mean, that looks miserable. No left foot braking in this thing, huh? Now, we're going to do a mild build to this car. I'm not going to do anything crazy. I want to have some fun with it, though, for sure. We're just going to do basic, like, people who are probably, well, these things are probably still beyond affordable for most people. We're going to put full comfort softs on this car, and we're going to do some minor weight reduction, and we're going to do, like, a full standalone ECU upgrade, as well as a kind of like basic what I would call a hybrid turbo configuration, and then we'll do the full intercooler as well. We're just going to do a very mild build with this car. The point is just to have some fun with it, and we're going to do the sport suspension. Just a very simple, basic build. I don't want this car to be too crazy. So yeah, it makes under 300 horsepower, but should be really fun to drive. 2,500 pounds is no laughing matter, consider all things considered with this thing. A 569. I don't expect this car to be very fast. Its main competitor is the DeLorean, which is a 121. I could see it being competitive with a 356 at a 118. So I'm going to shoot, say, a fair lap will be a 119 for this car, and we are going to be utilizing the stick shift in this thing. This thing drives great so far, just in the first couple of corners around here. So I'm leaning forward, I'm sure you guys can tell. That is so I can reach my shifter, because I play on a desk, not a full sim rig. And it's not often I get to drive right-hand drive anymore on this thing. Only feel a little bit out of place. I really don't know if this qualifies as an American car. Like, Ford's an American brand, obviously. We never got this thing, which I don't know why we didn't. Other than our older counterparts here in America really liked big V8s and didn't really care for turbo 4-bangers like they do now. Come on. See what she can do. This thing is fun. Probably one of the more fun cars I've built, and it's just a simple build. It's just rewarding. This thing's great. I'm having fun. I'm having a lot of fun with this car. This thing is so fun. Who would have thunk? See, is this a 6-speed? That's a 5-speed. Dang it. I always get excited whenever I see 6-speed cars from this era. This thing is a treat. This is probably one of my favorite cars I've driven so far in this update. I love the Turbo S. I love Porsche. I'm a big Porsche guy. You can see by the suit. Can I, like, yeah, see the Porsche suit? But this thing is just a treat. All right, let's see where she wound up on the ranking list here. Oh. We're at a 113. That's not bad. I think that's just behind the Z, which I think is gatekeeping the bottom of the leaderboard now. Nope, it's the M3 Evo, the E30 at 112.8. It was so close to getting on the leaderboard with sub 600 performance points. That's crazy. All right, I promised you guys I would come back to the Turbo S, and here we are. I built this in the background, and this is a tribute to the 911 Sport Classic. And I've gone through, well, the livery is not my work. I'm not going to take credit for that. Really good recreation, though. I put the Fuke wheels on it, though. I wanted that on this car because, I mean, most Sport Classics have had a Fuke-style wheel. And as you guys can see, it makes 1,000 horsepower, 700 pound-feet of torque, weighs 2,600 pounds, and here's the treat. For those who don't know, the Sport Classic was only available in a certain transmission. I have gone through and recreated the transmission. This is a 7-speed manual. I mean, ignore the 8th gear. I made it purposely useless. I didn't know the final drive, so I just kind of guessed. But this should still be really fun. This is gonna be a treat. We're gonna take it to Special Stage Route X. We're on a 1/4 mile in it. And then we'll just VMAX it. We'll see how fast this thing can get up to. Should be good. This thing is rowdy. So the only thing I couldn't do to make this accurate to the actual Sport Classic was make it rear-wheel drive, but I made it close enough. All right, let's see. I'm gonna fully disable the traction control. Okay, it's deciding to stall. All right, here we go. Let's see what she can do in the quarter. So that was about what, it was an 8 seconds something 1/4 mile. It's so quick. All right, let's see if we can get this thing to top out at. I was shifting like there was no tomorrow, like my life depended on it there. We've crested 350 kilometers an hour here. That one in 5th. We'll just go to run out of gear. Obviously, the lack of a speedometer on the center gauge definitely does not help me very much because I have no clue how fast I'm going now. Would be really nice to have some way to read out like properly in here. Because I deleted the 8th gear, there is no 8th gear to shift into, so this thing is very fast. All right, we're coming to the 9,000 meter mark, and that's when I let out of this. And now. Alright, that was wild. This thing's something. It's crazy fast. So, one thing I want to talk about with how this thing does with stick shift, and some of this on stream too, is when you're in gear. So, I'm right now in the neutral, clutch is completely out. See, it has a lot of rev hang until I put the clutch in. But here's my other thing. I'm going to put it in first. My right foot is now completely away from my pedal box. I'm going to get the clutch to the grab point. You see the engine's actually revving itself up for some reason. And a lot of times it stalls. Or a lot of times it rolls forward, but this car is choosing to stall, oddly enough. See, I tapped the gas and now it did it. We're right to 8,000 RPM, so. Alright, let's see. Let's get rolling again. Let's see. We'll do like a 60 to 130 type deal. Reboost a little bit. So 100 kilometers, about 60 miles an hour. Don't know what 130 is. We're gonna say about 200. I think it's 100 to 200 in Europe. And go. That is something. It's so fast. The fact that I can do 60 to 130 in one gear. Let's do it again. That's just crazy how fast this car is. Alright. We'll take a look around the interior real quick in this thing, because I don't think I have yet. Put the parking brake down, and there it is. You can kind of see the duckbill in the back, you can see the headrest here. And I think that's where we're going to wrap this one up. So, thank you guys for watching. Let's see what we got up to on the straight there. So now we have the heads-up display so we can see exactly how fast I was going. Once it hit 350 kilometers an hour, that was 215-ish miles an hour. I missed 7th a little bit. It's a good looking car. Almost 260 miles an hour out of that car. It was insane. It was very fast. Alright guys, wrap this one up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys later. Have a great day.